and welcome to my December wrap-up. So I read like quite a few books this month, I think, at least more than usual for this year. So yeah, the first book I read this month was Crystal Whisperer by Camilla Monk. This is the third book in the, what's it called, Spotless series? I think it's just called the Spotless series. And I will do a review of it when I get the actual physical book, but in short, I loved it and it was great. I think I prefer this over the first two. Previously it was like number one was the best and then two was a close second, and then the third is definitely better than the second, but I'm not sure if it's better than the first. In some ways it is, in some ways it's like the first holds a special place in my heart. But I really loved it, and like, in order not to spoil you, I'll just shortly tell you what Spotless, the first book, is about. And it is about Island, who is a virgin, and that is kind of a big deal in her life, but like, she's also kind of shy, and she meets this guy in her apartment who has cleaned it up because he suffers from OCD, and he calls himself March, and he is a hitman, and he wants to kill her. But he thinks that she knows where a huge diamond is, so he kind of takes her on this trip around the world because he wants to know where it is, and she has absolutely no idea. And it's really funny, and there's a lot of action, and it's just amazing in my opinion, so I would really recommend it. I also made reviews for the first and second book, so I'll leave those down below if you want to check those out, because I think I'm a bit more eloquent in those videos than I am right now. Then I read From All of Us to All of You, number 23 by Walt Disney. This is just a collection of short stories about Christmas from Disney, and it is the usual cartoon, and it's just amazing, and I loved it so much, and I always love these. They come out every year. Then I read Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. I read this, I think, the day or 2 days after I went to the movies to watch it, and I loved it. And this is basically just the script, like word for word what they say in the movie. There are no additional scenes or something like that, and of course J.K. Rowling wrote this, and it was just amazing and so much fun to just watch the movie and then read the script and have all like the notes for what the character does or what they're wearing, what the scenery is like, and it was just a fun read and a quick read as well because it is like a manuscript. Then I read The Christmas Oras by Tom Fletcher, and this was just the most, I think the most amazing Christmas children book I have ever read in my entire life. On the back it says, "Well, bless my Kringles," Santa said with a tear in his eyes. "It's a baby dinosaur." And this is basically about a dinosaur egg being hatched, and it's being hatched on the North Pole, so it is the only dinosaur in the world, and it starts feeling kind of alone, and then there's this boy who also feels kind of alone, and they meet each other and become friends, and it's just so beautiful, and everyone should read this no matter what your age is because it is amazing, and there are beautiful illustrations in this as well. Then I read Christmas with Billy and Me by Giovanna Fletcher, and she is married to Tom Fletcher, who wrote the Christmas Oras, and I also just found that so sweet. It's a short story that follows Billy and Me, which is the novel, and it's just, I just found it to be so cute and sweet. Then I read Dream a Little Christmas Dream, also by Giovanna Fletcher, and this is also a short story about Christmas following her novel Dream a Little Dream. And again, this was just so sweet, and I think, I'm not entirely sure which of the two short stories I liked the best. Definitely loved Dream a Little Dream more than Billy and Me, like the novels, but the short stories I'm not really sure. Then I read Girl Online Going Solo by Zoe Sugg, and it was a fun, quick read, and I don't really know what to say about this series. I have this thing that I have to finish series, and I think this is the last? I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, some people hate these books. I find them to be fun, quick reads. Yeah, and just keep in mind they're not written for adults, they're written for teenagers. So again, that also has a factor in how these are written, and yeah, like the target audience isn't adults. Then I read The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna. I read this in Danish because my boyfriend's mother told me to read it, and she just handed me the book and was like, you need to read this. And I think it's like my favorite book of the year because it was just heartbreaking, and it's... I don't really know what to say about it. I just loved it so much, and I cried, and I was reading it on the train one day, and then I just could feel the tears, and I was just like, don't cry, don't cry, don't cry on the train. But it was just so good, and I just really, really loved it. It's set during the Second World War in France. It starts just in the beginning of the war in 1939, and it follows these two sisters, and they have very different ways of dealing with the war and their own ways of fighting the war. I would recommend it to everyone. Last but not least, I read Always with Love by Giovanna Fletcher. So yeah, you could say it's been a Fletcher month because I read 4 stories from them, like 2 novels and 2 short stories. Always with Love is the second book about Billy and Sophie, so the sequel to Billy and Me. Billy is having a break from acting, and they're just living their life in Roseland, and then stuff happens. And this is just like a contemporary, fun, romantic story about love, and I think I got a bit annoyed at Sophie sometimes, and I'm not entirely sure why. So those were all the books that I read in December of 2016, and it's now 2017, which is weird, but yeah, that time is a weird thing. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and hopefully you'll continue to watch in 2017. Yeah, because you are watching this in 2017, but like, continue. I don't know what I'm saying, I should just say goodbye. Bye bye.